Hey guys, just reporting back on progress with IVF so far since the last time I spoke. Let's see, I think we had our egg retrieval now 2 weeks and 2 days ago. So approximately 16 days post retrieval, and we're on our way to getting a frozen transfer. So we're not sure on the dates yet. There'll be more on that. I just figured I'd kind of talk about what's happened since the last update, and then I'll get into a little bit more of plans that are coming. So anyways, since I last posted, I was still staying home from work after our egg retrieval, and I was having some pretty bad reactions, and I definitely had some overstimulation of my ovaries. As I had said before, ovaries just got massive in size, and it became so painful that I ended up going back to the ER about 2 different times. The first time was just to check for torsion of the ovaries, just to see if it was twisting, which can be dangerous. Thankfully that wasn't the case. They just said they're huge and that's why you're in so much pain. And then the second time I went, my chest was really tight. Like, it was kind of scary tight, and I was having a really hard time breathing. I had shallow breaths, and then I randomly got like a fever. And so at first I wasn't really gonna do anything, but I spoke to my nurse and she wanted me to be safe, and so she and my doctor said just go to the ER again, just be safe. And of course, being there on a Friday night, 5 hours later, being poked and prodded, got an EKG, got an ultrasound. No, I didn't get an ultrasound that night. I did the 2 days before the first ER trip. I got what all did I have done? I had an x-ray of my chest, and then I also had a CAT scan, urine test, blood test, all that fun stuff. It just took forever because it was kind of crowded, and I don't know, I guess the team wasn't as efficient as the team was 2 nights before. So it was just, a fun night in the ER. But thankfully, I'm grateful. Everything seemed to check out okay, thank God. So I just was taking it easy after that. And then by Monday, I was safe to go back to work. And I was pretty much back to normal. The swelling in my stomach had gone down. By Tuesday, it was completely gone. Out of the 9 pounds of water weight I gained, and probably the days leading up to egg retrieval and then actual egg retrieval, I retained over 9 pounds of water weight. And so I lost all of that. Plus I lost a couple pounds just because like the week prior, I was so full in my stomach from the water and everything else that like it was hard to eat. Like it was kind of miserable. And all I drank was like red Gatorade. And I think I had like green tea with peppermint, and I think just a couple small things here and there. So thankfully I did lose like a couple pounds that way. Not the diet I'd recommend. It wasn't really fun, but anyways, it's nice not to feel pregnant anymore, in the sense of like I'm just so full I can't move around. I can stand straight again, and all that stuff. The only thing that I have left that happened during that time was from that same Friday. I had been taking a little bit of Percocets from the prior night when I was in the ER. They gave me some Percocet to deal with the pain. I'm not one that's big on taking any kind of painkillers if I can avoid it. I was in a lot of pain. And so the last one I had taken was like 6 in the morning on a Friday. And I just took that, and then that's when later I was having some of those other symptoms. So I don't know if maybe I was having a reaction to the Percocet, but ever since that day, I've strangely had like a weird rash covering here at my chest. It's kind of getting up to my neck. It's even starting to get to the base of my face. You can't really see it well, but I can kind of just feel the bumps forming. I've got a little bit on my stomach and a little bit on the sides of my back. So I don't know if this will show on the camera with this lighting, but it's just a little bit, like almost looks like pimples, but it's not. It kind of looks like a heat rash, and I've only had that one time before, and that's when it really was. I was living in Georgia at the time. It was in the middle of August, and it was sweltering hot, and I was going through like a really stressful period, and I was flipping out for no reason, as most of the time that's the case. We get stressed, right? But that was the only time, and it lasted like a day or two, and it went away. So this I've had for like a week and a half now, and it's actually kind of getting worse, and it doesn't itch or anything like that. it's just kind of annoying. And so I asked my nurse about that yesterday. She's not really sure why I'm having it. I kind of feel like I might have been having a reaction to Percocet, but it's kind of weird to me that it would still be there. Like I would feel like at this point, this far after taking that last Percocet, it would be gone. So she recommended I go to a primary care physician or that I go to a dermatologist just to get it all checked out, which probably I'll do in the next couple of days. It's my spring break, so woo, what better way to have a spring break, because I'm a teacher, than to go to the dermatologist. But I'd rather get that checked out now. Also, a couple other things. We did have our embryos. Our clinic holds on to the embryos until day 6, which I know most do day 3 through 5. Ours is very particular about that. They really back up everything they say with a lot of research, but they find that it's best to wait until day 6 because the embryos that live up to day 6 tend to have a better odds of survival once they're transferred into the womb. And so out of the 36 eggs we had retrieved, 30 of them were mature enough to be inseminated with ICSI or ICSY. And then out of those 30 that were inseminated, 28 have made it over the first night. So we had 28 embryos at one point, which is awesome. And then by day 6, we had 12 that still lived. So it's like quite a drop, but considering most places don't go up to day 6, it's still pretty good odds. We're still pretty fortunate in that sense. And then out of those, we did get chromosome testing, which I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to do it or not. I kind of had mixed feelings about it, just for different reasons. Maybe I'll go into that more on a different post. But we decided to do it, and it's part of like our clinic was doing a research study, and so part of the study they said if you do the chromosome testing, we'll pay for a portion of it because it's really expensive because our insurance doesn't cover that part. So we did it just because I've heard that a lot of times when you do that, if you can test them before you transfer them in, again, you more than likely have better odds of them surviving to a full pregnancy or to birth. I know that's not always the case. I know there's a lot of women out there that didn't have that and everything turned out great. But just for different reasons, we decided to go ahead and go for it. And so I was told yesterday that out of the 12 that we had, 9 of them tested chromosomally normal and only 3 were abnormal. So thankfully they still froze all 12. They're all still frozen. We just know 9 of them are really, really strong. And so, which is awesome. So at least we still have 9 to work with. And I'm really hoping that that means I won't have to do an egg retrieval ever again. If I pray and it's God's will and I just, things go the way I want them to do, I won't have to do the egg retrieval again. So hopefully, 9 I feel like is enough that if we transfer one embryo in, it doesn't work out, I'd still have a few more to choose from to work with in the future. And then if we wanted another child in the future, if we do have a successful pregnancy, we'll still have more options. And then if anything's left after that and we're like done having kids, I definitely want to be able to donate them to somebody who really could use them. So anyways, feels like, it was a lot to go through all that after the retrieval. I think egg retrieval is definitely harder it can be hard for any woman, but I think especially those of us with PCOS, it's really tough. And it's a lot more than I think most medical offices really let you fully understand from the experience I have of just reading different blogs and articles and my own experience. I feel like there's not that much information out there about it, but it's a tough process for those of us with PCOS and those of us that have the overstimulation of our ovaries. It can be really tough to deal with, but it's done. We had some good results from it, moved on. Other than this stupid rash, everything's back to normal. I'm really happy about that. And so I'm just ready to go forward. So now we're just waiting to hear back from my doctor's office. They originally had me scheduled for a transfer for like 5 weeks from now, and it's already been a couple weeks, and I was really hoping to get it done sooner than that just because I'm being so impatient. I initially didn't even know that they had a policy where you have to get your eggs frozen first. They don't do fresh transfers. And at the time, I didn't understand that until like maybe a week before. So it was already kind of like upsetting that I thought like, oh, I'll already be pregnant by this point. And I know in the long run that was for the better, because my body couldn't have handled doing that whole transfer at that point within like a few days of my retrieval. It would not have been good for me or for a possible baby. So it's good in the long run we didn't do a fresh transfer. However, at this point, I'm just so impatient, and I just want to get this transfer done and just move forward, because it's like this is becoming like a 3-month process just for one cycle, and it's already been like 5.5 years of us trying. And so I'm just at the point now in my life where I'm just wanting to get this moving, and I just don't have a lot of patience for it not to be doing anything. And it could be one of those things where maybe it's good that we wait a little bit longer, because maybe there's more going on with my body than I realized. Maybe it's just not God's timing. So I'm trying not to let being impatient affect what's better in the long run. But my nurse did say there was an option that we could do things sooner than 5 weeks from now, as long as I was willing to go with a doctor that's different than the one I have, because they kind of based it around her schedule. And she said, if you're okay with having maybe a different doctor from our facility, we could maybe see if we can get it done a little bit sooner. It's just a matter of like my insurance processing things. They said my insurance has been taking a long time to approve pretty much anything in our cycle. And so they said if they can hear back from them today, they can try to move it up, hopefully, and we might get things going a little bit sooner than that. And honestly, as much as I like the doctor that I have, I think she's great. At this point, I feel confident in pretty much any of the doctors that are there at this clinic. They're pretty good. And so I kind of rather just go ahead and work on time rather than work just with this one doctor. So I guess we'll see what happens. She's supposed to call me today and let me know what she hears and sees if we can move this up. And if so, I'll update on that. I'm just super excited to get this rolling. And if any of you have already done the whole transfer, especially after a frozen transfer, or you had OHSS from being overstimulated, from egg retrieval, or anything like that, I would love to hear from you, hear your experience, or get advice on the transfer process if there's anything to it that I need to be aware of. I hear it's a little more of a simple process than the retrieval, but you never know. So anyways, thanks again for watching. If you are watching this, I know it's kind of long. Hopefully I can start editing these videos and learn some more things to make this like slightly more interesting than me just sitting in a chair for like 10 to 20 minutes talking. But hopefully maybe my experience will help you, or, you know, it just, if you're interested in the whole IVF process and you haven't started, maybe this is just one perspective you can hear. I know there's lots of videos out there. Or, you know, maybe it's just a great way for us all to connect online and help each other out through this process, because I know emotionally and physically and financially it can be a lot. And so I think it's nice to band together with other women who are kind of going through the same thing. Anyways, have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.